So, put your finger down if you used to watch crazy roommate story times on YouTube and you never thought it could happen to you until you go to FAMU for your first year and you move in with a girl that you met over summer that you like and she likes you and you guys never have any issues in the room. And one time you realize that she has on your shorts on her story that she never asked to wear. So you nicely slide up and say, "Are those my shorts?" And she acts like there was some type of confusion and she thought they were hers. So you give her the benefit of doubt and at least you have your shorts back. So you never say anything. And then you decide to go on vacation and there was a pair of sweatpants that you noticed while packing that were in your dresser and you forget your keys. So when you knock on the door to come back in the room, she opens the door and she has on those sweatpants and you still don't say anything. You just go immediately to the dresser to check it to see if you were tripping and you weren't tripping. But for some reason, you still decide to stay in the room. And then she starts talking to this boy that's friends with your friends. And she eventually stops talking to him and she needs her clothes back from his room. So your friend that lives next door to him gets the clothes. And when she comes in your other friend's room to give you the clothes, you just open the bag to make sure your roommate's clothes are in there. And they're all your clothes, including your panties. So immediately the next morning you go to housing to get switched and they switch you to a different dorm on campus. And the entire 6 hours you're moving out, your roommate says nothing to you. She doesn't even look at you in your direction or ever leave the room because she knew that you knew that she was stealing your stuff. And then you just never see her on campus again and block her on everything.
Okay. Put a finger down if you met a girl in your aunt's neighborhood in the summer of 2020 who seemed really cool and it looked like you guys had a lot in common. So you started hanging out with her and started coming to pick her up and drop her off because she doesn't have a car. And you also let her come and stay at your house some weekends because she doesn't have her own place. And you also allow her to be around your friends and family and come to cookouts and gatherings. And she's just praising how my friends and family are so sweet and nice. And she just likes being around all of us. And then a few days later, she asks if she can sleep over again. And you say yes, but she would have to leave the next morning, because you and your boyfriend have plans. And she says, okay. And so then you guys wake up the next morning and start getting ready for your day. And your boyfriend shows up a little earlier than he was supposed to. So your best friend, who is at your house at the moment, you ask her if she can take her home for you, but your best friend also had plans that morning. So you and your boyfriend just decide to take her home yourself on the way to your plans. And then later on that night, you get on Twitter and you see that the random girl, is on a Twitter rant about you and saying how people don't like taking her home, or it's always an issue when she needs to go home, which was confusing to you because it was never an issue. So you completely ignore it. And she also says your name in the tweets. And then you just completely ignore it. And then she texts you that night and asks if she can sleep over again. And you say no, because weren't you just talking about me on Twitter? And then she starts to tell you why, and you don't agree with those reasons. So you just ignore her, and then she apologizes and you ignore that as well. And then you wake up the next morning and you have 1,000 messages from this girl, basically mad that you never responded and saying no response is a response and I should have accepted her apology. And you ignore those as well. So then you get voice memos of her literally telling you that she's going to kill herself because she feels like no one fucking likes her. And you think that's weirder. And so you ignore that as well. And then she starts seeing that you're ignoring her and basically tells you she's gonna fucking ruin your life. And so she says that she's gonna tell my job that I have been letting her be on my work laptop so I can get fired. And she messages all your friends and family and your boyfriend and create lies so they can hate you as well, just trying to ruin your life. And so you message her back and tell her if she does not leave your friends and family alone, she will get beat the fuck up. And she takes that personally and goes to the magistrate office and gets a warrant out for your arrest. And they actually come to your apartment while you're working and arrest you for communicating threats. Okay, so everyone wants to know a part two to this story of what happened when I got arrested. So here you go. So I basically opened my door thinking that the cops was not here for me, even though it's my place. I'm the only one that lives here. I did not think it was for me. I thought maybe someone I knew did something, and I don't know. I'm just thinking because I don't mess with the cops. Like, I don't do anything for the cops to be on me. So I did not think it was because of this girl. And it was only 2 hours later after they came, after we argued or whatever, and I told her that I was going to beat her up. It was probably 2 hours later that they came and arrested me. So the cops were really, really nice. I did show them all the proof. You guys were asking in the comments about proof. I showed them all the proof they needed, the harassment from all day, me not responding. I showed them the voice records of her saying she was going to kill herself, everything. They believed me and they were super sweet. They didn't even arrest me like at my house, you know. It was raining really hard that day. They let me be on my phone while I was in the car. He was really sweet about it. But there was really nothing he could do because it was a warrant. Like, all he could tell me was to report it after I got out. And I'm not gonna lie, I did cry when I found out I was gonna get arrested. I was crying my fucking ass off because, like I said, I ain't never been me. If you knew me, you knew jail is not for me. Like, so that definitely created some revenge, and I might have to make a part 3 after this to let you guys know, because it was a lot that happened. But as far as that day that all this shit happened, we do have a Twitter page, a mugshot. So our county has I don't know if a lot of states do it, but our county has a mugshot page. So everyone who gets arrested gets plastered on that fucking account. And a lot of people were sending it to me when I got out, and then someone sent me this. So she retweeted my fucking mugshot, and this is what really pissed me off, because she retweeted it. She said, "Oh shit," as you can clearly see. I'm not gonna give her name out because the bitch is clearly the fucking feds. But this is y'all's proof that this bitch really did get me the fuck arrested for communicating threats, and she retweets it as a prize. So that part to me was really insane. And I am acting very chill about it right now because it happened 2 years ago, and I just finished with court last summer about it. So I'm really over it. But there was other things that led up after that. I did retweet my own mugshot because you can't little girl me at all. So, and I looked okay in that mugshot. I wasn't looking like crazy. So I retweeted my own shit.
Put a figure down if you and your man decided that you don't want to have any kids, so you're going to get an next one on so that you don't have any kids. And then you get married and you're living your best newlywed life, and then like 6 months later, one day at work, you're spotting and you're like, this is so weird because like I have next one on so I don't get my period. And then your coworker's like, if you're spotting, that means you're pregnant. And you're like, oh, I don't think you know what you're talking about, but just in case you do know what you're talking about, I'm going to go take a pregnancy test. So then you take a pregnancy test and they say, yeah. And so then you freak out and you go to Walgreens and you spend like $200 and you take like a million more pregnancy tests, and they all said yeah. And your husband's like, this can't be right, like you have that thing in your arm. And you're like, yeah. So then you freak out and go to urgent care on a Sunday morning, and they're like, yeah, our test said yeah too, but like we could take a blood test and that could say no. And you're like, okay. And so then the next day you go to your regular doctor and she's like, yeah, the blood test actually said yeah, but this isn't normal because people don't really get pregnant on next one on, so it's probably not okay. It's like probably stuck in your tube or something, and you're probably like only like a month along, so like we need to figure it out, so you need to go get an ultrasound. So then you go get an ultrasound and she's like, oh yeah, there's the head and there's the legs and there's a penis and it's a boy. And you're like, wow, you can see a lot for only being a month along. And they're like, actually you're about to be 27 weeks because it's June 9th and you're due on September 14th. And yeah, this happened 8 years ago, and he was actually perfectly fine, and he's still perfectly fine, and he's almost 8.